I want to welcome in the host of America Right Now, right here on Newsmax, Tom Basile, with me on set. Tom, this was pretty interesting. We can expect more of this, by the way, these hearings yesterday. So I want to play you a soundbite. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman from the state of New York, still basically denying the validity of the laptop story.
A whole hearing about a 24-hour hiccup in a right-wing political operation. That is why we are here right now. And it's just an abuse of public resources, an abuse of public time. We could be talking about health care. We could be talking about bringing down the cost of prescription drugs. We could be talking about abortion rights, civil rights, voting rights. But instead, we're talking about Hunter Biden's half-fake laptop story.
Hear that right there? Half fake?
But Rob, didn't you hear yesterday? It was just a mistake.
Yeah.
Somebody just hit the wrong button over at Twitter, and it just kind of went away. It was just, come on, man. Look, I think the Republicans have a challenge here, okay? And that is because a lot of people feel like these hearings do kind of devolve into noise like what we just heard, right? But you have to break it down. Like, what do we know? What do we know now? We know that we have a problem with digital fascism in this country. We know that the government illegally, through the use of Twitter and other platforms, tried to manipulate and censor speech and the press. We know that that had an impact on the 2020 election. The polling data is there. And by the way, not to disagree with the distinguished woman from New York, but, last year the polls came out, 66% of Americans do think that this is a significant story.
Yeah.
Do think that the censorship of the Hunter Biden story during the campaign is something that should be looked into. We also know that Joe Biden lied repeatedly to the American people about his relationship to his son's business dealings. And I want to, John did a great job talking about the laptop, but we need to go back to when Joe Biden was vice president. And 22 times, actually it was dozens of times, Hunter Biden's closest business associates were guests at the White House. They had meetings at the White House. So again,
It was just to take a picture with the big guy.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Look, I think what the Republicans need to be doing next, because everybody wants to be Perry Mason, but that's not the way that this works here.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
You got
and Republicans do need to be mindful of. You think about Harry Truman, 1948. Dewey defeats Truman. It was because everyone thought Tom Dewey, former governor of New York, was going to win that election.
Yeah.
Truman ran on this premise of the do-nothing Congress. Democrats could say the same thing about Republicans if it's all hearings and no action. That being said, these hearings are incredibly important, but there needs to be legislative action as well.
Well, then that's my point here. Now, what do you do? This is what the American people have made up their mind about big tech, and I think they've made up their mind about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and pay to play. I really do. So the question then becomes for Republicans, what do you do about it? How do you reform the FBI? What do you do about pay to play? What do you do about the potential of foreign influence peddling in with respect to our government? And where's that plan? And I think it's very important for Republicans to actually ultimately not just do the theatrics, but ultimately get to a place where they say, Americans, we're going to help solve this problem.
James Comer laid it out, chairman of the committee there. He said that a post-election poll found that something like 17% of voters would have voted for Donald Trump instead of Joe Biden had they known about the laptop 2 weeks before the 2020 election. So we're talking about a story that could have swung a presidential election. It's hugely important. Another issue that was covered yesterday was COVID and the vaccines. Here's Nancy Mace, Congresswoman, South Carolina, talking about this issue. Take a listen.
I have great regrets about getting the shot because of the health issues that I now have that I don't think are ever going to go away. And I know that I'm not the only American who has those kinds of concerns. So my first question this morning of Ms. Gaddy, may I ask of you, where did you go to medical school?
I did not go to medical school.
I'm sorry?
I did not go to medical school.
That's what I thought. You guys censored Harvard-educated doctors, Stanford-educated doctors, doctors that are educated in the best places in the world, and you silenced those voices.
Your reaction, 20 seconds.
This goes back to my previous point. People have made up their mind. Digital fascism in this country exists. There is a collusion going on between left-wing big tech and the government to try to censor speech. That's not America. So the question for Republicans now is, what are they going to do about it?
Good point. Tom Basile, you'll be back with us on Wake Up America on set tomorrow morning. Looking forward to that. Thanks for being with us this morning.